This meeting is being live streamed. Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. All right, looks like we in it. Press done. Hey, what's going on, y'all? I believe we're live, but let me just go ahead and check my phone. See, okay. How do I go to the what the heck? Where is that? I can hear it on the, okay. I'm double recording right now on the live, and that's annoying me. I got to figure out where it's at. Okay. Okay, boom. I think I got it. All right, and I'm gonna just check here. I got that background shuffle to go away. It looks like we got one watching. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Looks like we're here. I see myself. I just want to make sure I can see you on this live as well. Yep. I got you. Okay. So we're going to switch to gallery view. So we got both of us on screen. Check. Thank y'all for the patience pulling in. Obviously, you know me. I have somebody I've been working with, Sharaka Miller here, for some time now. And you want to give them your top three? You want to give them your top three? Sun, moon, rising real quick.
My sun sign's Virgo, second house. Mm-hmm. My moon sign is Pisces, 8th house. Mm-hmm. And my rising is Leo.
So Virgo, Pisces, excuse me, with a Leo rising. Okay. So we got the base dynamics. Today, we have a very important message, a message that is really to help all of us, okay, as a globe right now, as a one people, to help us to transition through the emotional energy that's happening. You already feel it. You might have been feeling it for days. We just came off a full moon, which is strong, so it's still very active for the next couple of days. And what that means is we all want justice, okay? The Libra full moon is very clearly telling us out loud that we all want justice, all right? And that might look a little bit different for each of us of what justice looks like, but at the end of the day, we want justice. We want fairness. We want more harmony and more balance, especially in some of these big corporations who are causing massive and global suffering. All right. So today's message is definitely one impromptu, but also very serious, because what's happening around the globe is, especially all my light workers, okay, my shadow workers, people who are here to relieve suffering, all right, people who are here to balance out the carnage that has been happening in the world. And that is carnage in a sense of physical violence, but also the war on your soul. Carnage, we've seen it. And this is Pluto in Capricorn coming to the climax. It's getting closer and closer. It's at 28 degrees, getting closer and closer and closer each minute that goes by to the 29th degree, where that interact degree where shit pops off. And so, like I said, I've been working with Sharaka for some time now, and she has that Virgo mind. She got the receipts, okay? She has the receipts, and the sun in astrology is already saying this is what we feel we need to take action on and towards, which, so for her, this means service, okay? This is service. You're talking second house. This is us serving our self-esteem, okay? Serving ourselves in a way where these resources that we have are actually used. The resource in this instant is for Virgo sun. The action is pulling out the receipts, okay? So today, like you heard from Sharaka, as Virgo sun, Pisces moon, Leo rising, that rising sign really being activated on using the tribe to go ahead and spread the information, to spread the knowledge. Leo risings just went through a third house transit on this full moon. So all my Leo risings on here, y'all might be really feeling this energy of having to share what you've learned leading up to this time frame. This is something that around October 6th, 2021, we've gotten the first glimpse. And today, if you were to look back to October 6th into today, especially for everybody, really, this is how that full moon impacted you specifically. You got to apply the transit yourself. But it's come to a climax. We have to do what we have to do. And as a part of this, I had took some notes prior to this call, even where really just to set the stage. And this is at the event yesterday. Y'all can check it out. We were streaming it live, the workshop that we had yesterday about the the Libra full moon. This is one secret surfacing, okay, on this Libra full moon. This is the elites in the world who exist currently today. They are revealing their power moves. And this isn't necessarily by intention, right? Nobody really wants to tell on themselves, but it's leaking out. We can't hold that shit back no more. So let's stop trying to pretend like we can or that we even want to. And the last two was really having explosion in relationships. Okay. You might notice certain relationship dynamics you have, whether in business, your platonic friendships, your romantic relationship, everything 7th house, everything Libra. You're having these explosions with that Aries energy in the sky. And it's making us really feel forcefully, both cardinal signs, that we have to push forward on what is right, what is just. And we can no longer sit by and watch everybody globally get bullied. And so what you've noticed around this 26 to 27 degree of this Libra full moon is that we are officially, as a collective, okay, as a social people, valuing, okay, at 26 degrees, valuing, was just passed yesterday, I believe, valuing these departures that we've had in our life in these relationship dynamics. You've had people leave. This is not really something that even needs to be discussed further than that, because Libra full moon coming to a close, full illumination, you recognize that certain people don't belong in your life. And the people that do belong in your life, you started better assigning with logic, what is your role in my life? So it's not as simple as you just need to get the fuck out. It's a little bit more like, hey, look, here's how we balance out what this dynamic looks like. Before, you were a romantic partner, but now you're on the stage with me for business. Or before, you was a platonic friendship, but it's time to progress that. I'm in love with you. Or full circle, hey, I'm in love with you, but I was in love with you. Actually, I still am in love with you, but it's completely making my life disharmonious. And that might be that explosion in life where they now take on a different role if they have a role still. And that looks like those departures. So, Sharaka, what I want to ask you, as we kind of just led them in real briefly on the fact that power moves are happening with Pluto and Capricorn coming to its near implosion. Why don't you give us a little bit of, give us your spiel, pull those receipts out, and go ahead and reveal what some of these power moves looks like. If I was to ask you, what is the most significant? Because obviously there's a lot of power moves going on, especially you're talking, corporate America, especially you're talking, I'm going to leave it to you. You got the receipts. You got more receipts than I do. What is the most significant power move on the global scale that you've witnessed that you feel you have to talk about? You must talk about it. You can't stop talking about it. What is that for you?
For me, these 40% increase in deaths of people aged 18 to 64, which is working age. And prior to the pandemic, we heard a lot of numbers that were outrageous. And when we compare the data from the CDC, we see that those numbers were inflated at times and the information was improper. But now, as we see that people have taken 4 or 5 jabs, we get now a year and a half later, and we're starting to see the real catastrophe that stems from those initial numbers. And when we consider the death rate of people within the age range of 18 to 64, we can consider a lot of different factors: suicide, murder, homicide, different things. But when we consider the overall perspective of how many jabs people have gotten, their rate of being impacted by people around them, we see that this now is literally looking like these people have been given something that has caused this to occur. And at a 40% increase for insurance companies, that is alarming. Not only
40% increase in what exactly?
In deaths.
Okay. So you're saying right now that as a Virgo, you're pulling the facts out that this alarming number of 40% increase in death tolls itself has occurred, and these numbers are starting to be revealed. Are you saying that these are some of the power moves that are happening? What's the purpose? What do you feel the purpose is of this 40% increase? Why was that necessary?
Well, for one, they're of course trying to depopulate, but on another level, I see this as as far as insurance companies go, paying out these families for these deaths, because that's going to be a big ticket to pull out to pay all these people's families. But not only that, they have definitely increased their percentage of incoming people, because they see, hey, something might happen, it's a catastrophic time in our life. Let us, get some insurance. So we saw second quarter and third quarter increases in policies, but now we're seeing payouts getting ready to start occurring, and they're gonna take a big dive there. And in terms of how alarming that is, because 40%, we think of 40% in percentage, we consider maybe getting 40% off on a test, and then we get, or even 40% off at the store. But in terms of deaths, that is such an alarming number that is like 3 or 4 or 5 times of war amount of people dying within a quarter, a 3-month time frame.
What would you say? What is the I mean, and maybe there's not just one. What is the method of these deaths? What is the method? Are you saying pharmaceuticals? Are you saying that what? Are you saying what exactly is the main source of these deaths on this 40% number, if you were to try to break it up?
Well, in terms of breaking it up right now, because of so much misinformation, we don't have specific numbers, but if I could break it down, I would say at least 30% of these are more than likely due to the jab, because there's no other logical explanation for this amount of deaths in that age range, 18 to 64. That's the people who are working literally day to day, that are in our gas stations, that are in our schools, that we interact with on a regular basis, our family members, our friends. And it's like, it doesn't sound, to me, it sounds alarming, because I know the underlying, the specifics of it. But like I said, there was a lot of suicides that started occurring due to this. There's a lot of homicides. There's a lot of just stuff that we see regularly as violence, and just different things that are abnormal to us. But when we consider this amount in one time frame, like these records are pulled in a quarterly fashion, because the insurance companies, they turn their information in quarterly so that they can do a projection for their next term. So this is in terms of how catastrophic it is. It's like nuclear bombs going off, and in the aftermath of it, because they listed as a sigma event, but they listed as a possible 3 sigma event. And when you think about the ratios of different things in society, one thing that when I was getting this information, the guy compared it to people's height, and people that are 6 feet and over, which 6 feet is we would think of it maybe as the average for basketball or something, but that's pretty tall for just the average person. But 6 feet and higher, you don't have just a whole lot of people that get too far over 6 feet in society. So that ratio of people going that high into height is like a 1 sigma event. For somebody to be that tall, it'd be one.
Just to clarify, right? Because you the one that got the facts. What is a 1 sigma event, a level 2 sigma event, a level 3 sigma event? Like, What is this? Why should we be aware of that? And in the meanwhile, while you get prepared to answer that question, definitely anybody watching, go ahead and hit that thumbs up for us. Allow this information to get spread. Allow this information to reach a larger audience in the process. As Sharaka gets ready to really answer, like, what is a level 1 Sigma event? What is a level 2 Sigma event? I mean, it sounds like to me a threat level, but if you were able to clarify this for us, what is this about?
Well, Sigma event is any event that's extremely rare beyond the 6 standard deviation in normal distribution. So we look into the levels. A level 2 Sigma event, things that are true 95% of the time. So we considered Sigma 2 events, and the 3 Sigma rule applies to nearly all values that lie within that 3 standard deviation of the mean. So when you're considering 1 through 6, that number that gets right there at the 3 at the midpoint, that gives us that standard. When you get into those lower line levels, there's not a lot there that for you to consider. So when we see this 40% sitting in that area there in terms of death, that's over time, you can see maybe 3/4 of the population on the planet literally gone. And see, what I think it comes down to in terms of how serious this is, because we get in this whole me, mine, I world, and we're in our houses where a lot of people, I don't really interact like that necessarily. I go visit my family and stuff like that. I never really was big with the friends in school, so I didn't really just have this whole crowd of people that I was around. So in terms of knowing people, I didn't just know a whole bunch of people anyway to say, oh, well, all of my families died or something. That's alarming to me. But when we consider this, there's a lot of people in one little quarter, especially when you consider an insurance company raising this concern. But not only insurance companies, we've got in Canada, we've got the people that are playing soccer in Canada at alarming rates, having to literally sit out the game. The world's greatest, one of the large profile tennis players had to sit out because of heart conditions and um, nausea, respiratory.
And you saying that this is coming from people with the jab?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's coming from. And see, all those people, they were, in order for them to stay a part of the team, they had to do that. And now we're looking at all these people live on TV, and they're getting ready to possibly start dropping like flies right in front of our faces on TV, in the streets, right before our face. And that's going to be devastating for children. So please, people, protect your children. School is not that important in terms of going there for you to risk their life just to have a daycare or just to have a babysitter, because that's what it's come down to. I took my children out of school 5 years ago. Before this even happened, this wasn't even thought of. But I noticed that the things that I was seeing was not appropriate. And as I was starting to come online, I was saying, oh my, I've got to protect my babies. So I took them out of the school district and I started to homeschool them. And I started to notice that even in my family, I had so many people coming at me and I'm just like, whoa, hold up, at least hear me out. And because everybody saw it as maybe, I feel like people are seeing it as a daycare, if you ask me, because when it comes down to it, the things that we learn within that 12-year time frame, we can learn in 3 years. It doesn't take all that. So they've really dumbed us down and wasted a whole segment of our life in the school system, away from our parents. Anytime you got children away from their parents in under somebody else's rule, we don't know what they're doing to our children in school. And if you think about your life, like I consider my life and some of the things I've been through and how catastrophic it was for me to even be in school with all these other people who were coming from some of the similar backgrounds and similar homes, I know it was broken. My home was broken. And with me taking my broken self from my broken home into this school system with all these other broken people, you can just imagine the damage that occurs in these schools. When my daughter has Down syndrome. So when she's in school, she was in a self-contained class. So it was mostly children that were that had similar disabilities, and they were all into one little section. When I would go to the school, the kids on the way into the school cussing, fighting, arguing, a whole host of crazy mess. And then when I get there, I see these kids have they have so many different types of disabilities that there's no way that the teacher could hone in on my child's specific needs.
Right. There's no way in the world. There's no way in the world. And so, you know, I'm happy that you say this as a parent, because how many parents are watching? Definitely let us know in the chat, you know, what is the thing that annoys you the most? And you already, Sharaka, you already have love that I see here coming in the chat between Moon Vibes, shout out to you. Virgo Vibes, actually, shout out to you. More Styles, shout out to you. You already got love coming in the chat, and everybody's saying, look, wow, I agree. This is the truth. Oh, shit, this is the facts. And, you know, I said this in the workshop we had yesterday for the Libra full moon. Obviously, I can check that on the profile about there's no Virgo in the sky. Somebody had made that mention coming from the Peace Dealer, right? That there's currently no Virgo in the sky. And what might that mean? And understand what that means is two things. One, Sharaka as a Virgo, she and other people, other Virgos right now are holding together the threads, in a sense, of the universe, the threads of humanity, by spilling the details in whatever way they can until Virgo season kind of rolls back around and we got some Virgo, astrologically speaking, in the sky to bring in, to thread those facts back together. But understand that this is not a simple task for them, because they don't have any global help or support until, again, Virgo goes back into the sky, until that service-based energy goes in the sky. Aries season is an individual season. Everybody's out here being selfish. Okay, so unless it's a moon transit, there's not much help, right? It's not much help beyond the fact that...
Shout out to Fatima.
Shout out to Fatima. Oh, you caught her?
No, well, I'm saying I was telling her the other day in the chat, you know, that our Virgo connection, you know, I don't know her personally, but you know, that Virgo connection, like we, you know, that keeps us strong through our, you know, through our sun sign, our actions. It keeps us strong together, the things that we're doing, you know, behind the scenes, and, you know, while we're not actually online globally, we can stay connected.
It's important. It's important. And so, you got another Virgo in there. Okay, boom. So you got all the Virgos in the chat right now. That's why they all like facts. My son is 20. He's about 6 foot. Yep. You were just talking about the height. And so this is the irony of like what Virgo's able to bring. You know, the details in a sense are so specific. Okay. When we put them together and get them broadcasted, they're in a sense so mind-blowing that it's something that no one else would think about. Like, if I'm being honest, me myself, like I didn't understand. If I see height, the only time I've ever considered height is how unhealthy it is for these athletes to be as tall as they are. Like, I know they can't sustain longevity of a career by playing and having so much impact. Just from my standpoint as an exercise physiologist, prior to astrology being part of my life, they can't sustain such impact and such high levels of play with their body being so disproportionate. And it is alarming how tall some of these athletes are becoming, because it's not healthy from a joint perspective. And me thinking alone, from a bone structure alone, it's impossible. So, you know, you're raising the awareness by bringing the details, bringing the facts about how Pluto in Capricorn is being revealed. Like I said, you know, power moves in the Pluto in Capricorn transit with the full moon going in Leo, bringing divine justice. This is the moon in Leo. The full moon in Leo was bringing divine justice, okay, to the social collective, to the social interpersonal relationships that we have on a day-to-day. And when you now look at Virgo, you being here, the other Virgos in the chat, shout out to y'all. Drop some Virgo emojis in there. Shout out to y'all. I've been seeing this, even in the event yesterday, we had about 17 people, and I kid you not, out of 17 people in the event yesterday, it was all Virgo and Aries. It was literally all Virgo and Aries. It was about 8 Virgos, about 8 Aries. And I just found it ironic. It's like, what are the odds? I mean, there's 12 zodiac signs. Like, why is in that one chat only Aries and Virgos? And I feel like it's Partly speaking about it now, if Virgo's out there revealing the facts, Aries can't stand to allow a bully to live. Aries can't let the bully live. And we're in Aries season, so we're taking action against bullies, as all of us, right? The sun is fueling the whole world. All of us are taking actions against the bullies, especially in this Pluto and Capricorn climax that is approaching right before we go into Pluto and Aquarius, where we really socially are using technology to progressively advance all the harm that is happening against humanity, crimes against humanity. Another Virgo, Virgo gang. They in the chat right now. What's up, y'all? Got to be something in the food. The kids are so tall now. My Joshua's an Aries. Yeah, look, even the Virgo got the Aries babies. It's getting wild. So
my daughter's an Aries.
See what I'm saying? Whatever it is, for whatever reason that Virgo and Aries has been, and I've been seeing this. Okay, I do astrology somehow, some way every day. Whether somebody's booking a session, working with me on it, back to whatever it is every day. And I'm telling you, Virgos and Aries have been on the map. Those two have been standing out. And the only thing I can think is the fact that Virgo is so service orientated and can bring in the threads that Aries might not really pay attention to until the attention is brought to it. And then it's going to go ahead and be that cardinal fire and be the deliverer of justice. It's going to bring the war to your front door. Notice right now, what are you doing? And what am I?
Right.
What are you doing? You bringing the facts.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And what did I say? Sharaka and I had a one-on-one meet today. Okay, so I want y'all to go ahead and just give her a clap, because this is actually her personal time that she had with me. And the way she was coming off, mind you, that Pisces moon is just for activation with all this Pisces in the sky, Jupiter in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, freaking Mars is now in Pisces. Okay, Venus in Pisces. Her emotional, when she got on, I was like, yo, it's emotionally important for you right now to somehow, some way relieve suffering. How can we do that? And the next thing was, you know what? Let's go live. Let's go ahead and take the action right now. No more thinking about it. Let's get it done. Let's get it on. And we talked about doing this live a couple times, but it didn't come yet until now. So if you're a Virgo out there, what I want to say is do not give up and understand you have support. Okay. You dead ass not alone. Do not give up and understand that Virgo is a social sign. Okay. It is an interpersonal sign. It's not your job to have to go to war, but when you collect those facts, give it to the warriors. Give it to the warriors and let us go do what we do, because we enjoy it. Because I swear to God, my whole life I've been the one to go, I'm gonna knock on your front door. But if I don't know the beef is there, if I don't know there's beef, I got nothing to address. But right now, when I see Pluto and Capricorn coming to that climax, there's some beef that we need to address, and that climax is here.
Yeah, I started my whole session. I started off kind of in this different energy that I noticed a lot of people are in, probably inappropriately, but justifiably so. We see a lot of this whole black power and black this and black that, and I've never seen a black or a white person in my life. So if you black or white, pull up so I can check you out, so we can get you on the scene. We need to see these black people and these white people, because I literally have never seen any. Now I've seen some people get pretty dark, and I've seen some people get pretty pale, but black and white never. And it makes me question, like, even with the Black Lives Matter movement and how much money a lot of people under that guise itself has taken in, and nothing has been done to support the communities that really say they're black. So when we have people every day, oh, Black Lives Matter, and now everybody cares about the black people, but no, not so much, because even family members in the community aren't so caring and loving. Like, literally, my daughter's had 2 open heart surgeries. My family literally was at the hospital, nurses, doctors. Yes, I got a PhD. I'm doing some RN, and they're showing their badges. And the day after the surgery, I've not seen any of these people. Nobody came to my house. Nobody called. Nobody said, "Hey, how do you feel? Are you okay? Is how are you doing mentally? Having a daughter that has Down syndrome or that's had open heart surgery." She's had 7 other surgeries. After none of those surgeries have I heard from any of my family. Nobody. And I'm just saying, like, and I'm a fairly, I ain't gonna say nice like that, but I'm a fairly decent person, so to speak. When it comes to family, when we gather around, I talk to the people or whatever, but I can tell it's something off. So I keep my distance, but and I care about my family. If it was something I could do for them, like if when I hear about something happening with one of my family members and just some beef, hey, I'm ready to ride. What's up? Let's pull up on whoever, they jumped on the family member, whatever. I'm just like, after that type of situation in your life, you would think that your family would call you or something and say, how are you? Or how are you mentally? Not even in terms of money. Do you need anything? Like, can I talk to you and make things better just by having a conversation with you? Nothing. So we consider this all over the world. People are going through this and facing these things alone. And then a lot of times people are so scared in these situations that they don't know if they can be around people. You got older people who can't see their grandkids and their children because of them being scared of this whole thing, I'm wondering, like, now that I didn't really hear anything about this being airborne, but if I see another person riding around in the car by themselves with a mask on, who you gonna get it from? Yourself? Damn, we'll just keep it contained. I don't know. Like, walking down
now it's just programmed.
Right. And that's what our whole life has been. It's programmed, indoctrination.
It's just programmed.
Yeah.
Look, like the plan was never going to last for longer than this 2 years that it's been here. Okay. It was never going to last. You're never going to be able to maintain certain regulations because people will naturally begin to want to wake up and be like, start asking questions. Right. But the damage of it all it's the programming where now, like you said, even if you're in the whip, you're just used to it. You just got used to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you now wearing it in your house. You're just used to it.
Walking down the street. Like, what? You walking down the street by yourself? Like,
and if you think about it, and this is so we talked about it, and I said in the beginning, power moves are being revealed. So again, if these power moves are being revealed, the questions that I then begin to have, and I basically had from the jump, was this. If this is going on now, you got the jab, you got the mask, you got the X, Y, and Z, right? If this is going on now, what's the real play? And it's always been my question from the beginning, okay? Because it's like this, right? It's like, we always know that there's this one hand offering something, and there's always this one hand behind the back, right? So it's like, what is this? There's a saying, isn't there, saying something about, the left hand feed the right hand, something like that. What's the saying?
Never let the left hand know what the right hand's doing.
Never let the left hand know. So I'm gonna give you the never let the left hand know what the right. Okay, so it's always been like this. So if we're given this through fake news, media outlets, false reportings on numbers, okay, you getting all this right now. What you're revealing is, okay, who's looking at the abnormal rates of obesity in children? It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Like, let's be honest, it's fucking ridiculous how obese children are. Children are more obese than their parents at this point. That's getting awkward. It's like, your child should not be that much bigger than you at birth, or let alone a couple years in, based off of you feeding them X, Y. You know what I'm saying? We have to start taking a personal responsibility somewhere. We got to start asking these questions, right? So, my question now for you is, if we're being given this on the right hand, what are more of the power moves that are revealing that have been placed behind the back the entire time? What's being hidden from our in plain sight?
A lot of the things that I'm noticing behind the scenes, like, because my whole Pisces vibe, I can feel this energy, and it alerts me to certain things. That's why I research certain things. But I'm seeing not just the deaths, but the programming, to the point where people don't even realize that they're programmed. Like even the people that are in the media and in politics. Like, some of these people, you would think they would be a lot smarter than they are, but my. Even considering this whole Boule facet, like, all right, like surely these people aren't falling for the okie doke, and they were the one who pulled the okie doke on everybody else. Like, right.
They falling for the okie doke.
But they have really it is, to me, it's been alarming to see some of the people who have fallen victim to this, because it seems like we should be smarter than that. You know, we should already be aware of certain things. Like as this start coming on, I was maneuvering myself to make sure that we weren't impacted by this in, you know, in the wrong way, which of course we all are impacted by it. But um like we've got to be careful going around these people who have had the jab, because eventually they're going to be perspiring this stuff out of their body and it will affect you. And then having sex with people who've had the jab. It's really important that we protect our children, for one, from other children who had the jab, because now people are going to start thinking that it's so important to have this daycare, this school system, that they're going to do that just to get their kids in school. And people, I've had people tell me, "Oh, Sharaka, I ain't taking that. I promise. I hear you. I understand what you're saying," and go right and take it. My mom, I couldn't believe it. She goes so damn hard, and literally, she like, "Up." I'm like, "Mama, what are you saying?" Like, I know I didn't just hear that, but she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to get my second one. I had my booster," and I'm just like, "Oh
Yeah,
shit."
yeah.
And
That
then
talk.
my whole family online saying the same thing. So I'm like, damn.
I know that talk got super wild. I went to the US for the 4 months. When I tell you I was mind fucked, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, mind you, like prior, I'm like out here living in the jungles and shit. So it's like I like come outside. I'm like, what the fuck happened to the world in this meanwhile? It's only been 4 months. You know, it's like so I hear you in that. Let me check with some people in the chat just to update us and you what's going on. I got a Capricorn rising here. With my Capricorn rising and my moon in Aquarius, okay, very perceptive and observant person, just for me hearing those two things off the rip. Pluto is working hard on ending all of that intentional bullshit and starting to shine the dark light of hope and the true light of love. That was powerful. That's straight from a Virgo. That was super powerful. What do you feel? What do you feel about that? What commentary do you have about that as another Virgo here live?
I have noticed that the love factor is starting to play a big part. People are starting to see this, and it's starting to awaken that passion of love within people, because it's like now we're concerned because we see that you can't avoid it. Like you can't not see the person next door suffering. You can't not see the people at your job suffering. Clearly, it's on their face. It's in their whole aura. So now it's important that that we do start to love. And I see it. I see it coming online, even with like even the energy behind the whole Black Lives Matter movement. It was love behind that. But when you see the people who were on the forefront of it, you see these people who were clearly lesbian women getting money. The lady said it was for her brother who was a homosexual, and he was black and he was being attacked. So she was doing that to say, you know, in that space, in this LGBTQ space, Black Lives Matter too, you know, because when they're being attacked, I'm sure it was something with the news, or we'll report on these people, but we're not gonna report on these people. But that's what that was all about. But find timing for that to come up during this whole George Floyd thing and the whole Breonna Taylor thing, where
Sure.
everybody's so pumped up about it. And then you get all this money poured into this movement, but you still have the people in the community suffering. And she go and send the money to her girlfriend in Canada to get this big stupid ass mansion. And it's like, hold up. So now we've got investigations coming out about that, where we see that passion and love that underlies these movements that are going on. But we still have these people that are pulling these power moves because they know how to position themselves. So that's another thing too, positioning ourselves. Like I know we kind of talked about some of the crypto spaces and things like that. I've been coming into awareness of a lot of things with this whole crypto space. Be careful, people, when it comes to this digital divide and this change, because we're going to see a lot of government agencies start to come online now and operate in this digital space. So a lot of the coins that are going to be offered are going to be centralized coins. And once they centralize it, then it comes back to just like this fiat currency. It's able to be tracked. It's able to be them actually see how you're spending your money and determine how you can spend your money. Because if they're giving you the money, then they can determine how you spend it. Like with the whole food stamp thing before, we heard, oh, the people can't buy snacks and soda pops and this and that. But that was because you had people in the grocery stores with 3 buggies of stuff, and then you got people that are working hard every day that are standing there that can't
at all.
Not
operating out of abundance at all.
Right. So I mean, and it's kind of crazy because we see this misinformation that we get now. We see the narratives being thrown off in a way that makes people consider that, oh, the people that are getting food stamps, they don't want anything. They're just lazy. They just want to sit at home. And then you see the people standing there in line who are literally seeing these people with 3 baskets of groceries and them barely being able to afford what they have. And they're working hard every day. They're living in an apartment, maybe in their apartment rent is $1,100, and this person is on Section 8 housing, and they have no rent, and they're at home all day smoking weed, got their boyfriend laid up. So it's this whole dynamic.
Can you expand and bring some awareness? And again, like a Virgo, pull those receipts on Section 8 and how that is tremendously detrimental to the community of people who are on and operating from Section 8 when it comes to the mental programming. Is there a way you can take a moment, because that has a lot to do with Pluto and Capricorn as well, and how that control is maintained. So can you elaborate maybe like on the Section 8 and how that may have really put the community of people operating from Section 8 into a mindset of lack and low self-worth, low self-esteem, and the inability to go ahead and progress beyond their circumstances?
One thing I noticed with the whole Section 8 thing, I would hear older women tell the younger women, don't get a job making too much money because they'll take your benefits and you won't. And then when you have these people in this situation and they're saying, okay, if I go work for the DHS office, I'm gonna make $8.59 an hour. My rent is this much. That's gonna barely cover my rent. It's gonna barely cover food. I can sit at home and make more money doing nothing. Right. And see, the whole concept of that, when we consider what we really came here to do, because we didn't come here to work. We didn't come here to work hard and slave and do all this other crazy shit. We came here to experience. And actually the women, we came here to actually find the goddess within. And the men came here to explore the goddess. So and this whole goddess essence and energy is earth energy. Because we don't consider Earth, the planet, and Earth, the energy, as 2 separate things, we get confused because Earth itself is not this planet. Earth itself is just like fire, water, and air. It's a whole thing, and it's not just this planet. But this planet is a feminine energy itself. So this is the goddess that we came into so that we could explore it all together as mankind. So when we get this whole male and female and masculine and feminine, we forget that we all have both of these energies within us. We both have the divine masculine and the divine feminine within us. So within us, this whole battle is going on before we even get to interact with anybody else. And see, that's what we have to. I was telling you about this whole system with the government and how they done the books or whatever to throw us off from understanding that we're private people. Like this is our personal private life. But when we reveal it to the public, then we put our private persona into the public. And if we're not understanding the difference between public and private, then there's a disconnect. And see, this cognitive dissonance that people are suffering from, because that's what it comes down to, even with the Section 8. There's a cognitive dissonance there. People are not rationally perceiving their situation in relationship to the overall picture. And see, if we could, then the people that are good, the people that are operating from a space of love could come together and we could shop and operate with each other under a coin that we've created so that then we're not operating on a centralized coin. We know that people in our communities make candles, we do reading.
Right.
Like, one of the most important things is to get a birth chart reading. But I'm starting to notice we've got to, like, in the whole community, astrologically, we need to really revamp some shit, because if I get another damn reading and don't feel no benefit from it, I'm showing up at your shit. Like, I'm gonna need my issue back. Like, what the hell? I'm tired of not getting these supplements. I spent thousands of dollars, and I've done 10 years of research myself, but astrology is not that simple. I think people kind of misinterpret what astrology is, because it's not just astrology. This is spirituality, and it's a whole thing. You got numerology, geomancy, necromancy. It's a whole damn thing going on.
They all play together. First off, go ahead and drop a thumbs up on this video. Again, reason why, if you really, really do resonate with this information, I see facts, so true, spill the details, pull the receipts, understand how it works, right? Understand how it works with this Pluto in Aquarian starting to come. As Pluto goes through its implosion, understand how it works. As we step into Pluto in Aquarius, this is our collective network. This is the friends of the friends of the friends. This is me getting connected to Jerome, but I don't know Jerome. I only know Sandra, and Sandra knows Sharaka, and Sharaka knows Pernell, and Pernell then knows Jerome. You feel me? So go ahead and drop that thumbs up and help us out. We know what it is. The algorithm is what it is. Let's work with it. Okay. As a people, Sharaka is actually one of the people that says this all the time. It's like, look, this is the highest form of love, right? That's the highest currency, that social currency, like us as a people, literally Aquarius coming together. We do not have to fucking like each other. We do not have to love each other in order to actually work together. Okay, we can be big personalities and still respect the next big personality and realize that there's no war here, because a true leader doesn't need to be sitting here and competing with the next leader, rather than forming a band together, like she was speaking on, being able to go ahead and create your own crypto coin, not having to go ahead and adopt into the other coins that eventually will find its ways to centralize so that they gain the power back through the bank again. We need to learn through our lessons and watch. The banks had crashed multiple times. Okay, we understand how much control the banks have had on the people through economically, maintaining us in a certain status of disempowerment. So I say that to say, one, go ahead and like, thumbs up, especially if you rock with Sharaka. She's coming on here as a surprise guest, completely impromptu, and she's spilling the fucking details. So go ahead and make sure that we get that out there to the people. On the next note, thank you for actually saying, go ahead and get your readings, but understand this as well. And I try to tell people this. I had a conversation with a friend very recently about, do you also understand that there are a lot of people out here that are manipulating spirituality? Okay. So you got to do your research. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch this. Whoever you do go get a reading from, an oracle reading, a tarot reading, an astrology reading, a numerology reading. You have to really check and validate the motherfuckers. Okay. Go ahead and check their receipts too. And I say that for myself. It's like, go ahead and check my receipts too. You need to listen to some people that have actually gotten readers and see what that looks like for them, because I know nobody really knows what, huh?
I'm gonna update the list that I have, but I've vetted quite a few people in the community, because for me it became important after doing all this research myself. So I understood the background of it. So when I went into the space, I was able to see what the people were saying and how it really applied and what it really was. And I could see from them the passion that they had and how they were really trying to deliver it, whether it was being deceitful or if they were trying to really give us the information. One thing I can say, you, Peace Dealer, Flight Balls, man, y'all come with it. And I see the passion and the love that y'all have under the surface of it. It's not just about astrology. It is really spirituality for you guys. Like, y'all bring the essence of spirituality alive online, because it doesn't matter if you just go back through the videos, you can get your own reading for free, because that give you every damn detail you need. Just go back and review all the videos. You're gonna get every damn detail you need. Black Boss, every second of his damn videos is a gem and a jewel. Oh my God, that guy is golden, man. He really is. And even after being in the space with him and being in the space with Peace Dealer, if y'all know Peace Dealer, oh my God, when you listen to him, you feel like a princess. Like I always get this whole fairy tale land when because I'm like, yeah, and then when you get your reading, he's like, you're a queen, and you're like, and I'm like, yeah, man, come on, yeah, we're gonna do it. But even with all that energy that I felt from them, it wasn't until I found you that I really found that that place of hope, that place of healing that was important for me, because I can have all the information, I can have all the facts, I can have everything I need, but without that real understanding of what it means to heal, I still felt lost. Like even now, I feel so much more prepared to conquer whatever task is in front of me, because I see the healing process is taking place within me, and I know it's possible for anybody else. See, if I hadn't done it myself, I wouldn't be able to say, you can do it too, and just shun somebody off. Like I've seen people be like, oh, if anybody else done it, then you can do it too. And it's like, yeah, that's easy to say, but until you experience it yourself and you really feel that healing starts to take place, where you're mending your soul and you're mending your spirit, and actually getting its vehicle back right, because this is a 3-part system. You can't just heal this physical vessel and think that you're gonna be okay. If you scrape your leg and it scabs over, you can take the band-aid off, you got a little scar, it's all right. You got a physical, a mental, and a spiritual ailment. Wherever you have an ailment, there's a 3-part ailment. And it's important that we know that, especially in the medical community, because the people that are in the hospitals, nurses, doctors, go the fuck home, go home and get a damn clue. First of all, before you even try to learn astrology, get a clue, because clearly what these people have given you all in terms of information is incorrect. We see these doctors and nurses right now, for one, they jabbing up. My cousin, oh, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor at the hospital. My daughter had surgery, and you took the jab and you gave your baby the jab. I'm just like, what the hell? You're not too smart, are you, honey? Because clearly something should have been evident in this situation overall, when they're commandeering whole sections, because they know already that they're going to need the space, because they already see they've given message to the people that they want to give message to, and the people down the line, either you get it or you don't, because you don't have to go and take this crap. But like I said, my mama, she ran down there to go take it. I'm like, are y'all looking for attention or something? Because who the hell even cares? I voted. Like, okay, shit, who you vote for? Okay, it don't even matter, because you got a bird with, wings of the same bird. And I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. This is a republic country. But if you're a Democrat in a republic country, you tripping. Like, for real. And we got all the so-called black people now. They're all Democratic, and then you got the whole AKA and the soror and all these folks, everybody all talking about. But that's because they're boule. They were designed for that. They were designed to disrupt the system of the republic, so they could keep us dysfunctional, so that they can function abnormally. Because if we look at their
or even the fact that there is a divide,
right?
Even the fact that there is a Democratic, Republican, liberal, like it's in reality. Again, if you was Virgo pulling the facts, is there really a difference? Like, is there really a choice, or do you feel like that's a part of the illusion, that there is a choice on the party you choose?
Oh, that's definitely an illusion. Like, if people just really looked at it, there would be no need for them to take all of our popular vote, and then they still gonna let the people that, like, these people cast a vote overall. See, they got it. This stuff is sectioned off. Everybody votes for your county, and everybody votes for your state, and it all comes together. And then this one person goes in and then gives it to these people, and these people go and they cast their vote when they already knew what their vote was going to be from the beginning. So it really didn't matter what you said in the end. You just wasted your time and your energy even paying attention to that shit, getting up out your bed, going to the polls to vote. All of it was worthless, because at the end they already knew who they wanted to elect anyway. And then if you need somebody else to govern you, if you can't be self-disciplined enough to govern yourself, then we can almost see why you're a part of that system, because you should be able to determine within yourself right and wrong. It's common sense. Do unto others than you would have someone do unto you. That's the golden rule. that's known throughout the world globally. So it's not like it's an American thing to know how to, the difference between right and wrong. But it seems like people are almost blinded to it or something, because how I feel in this moment is going to allow me to come and fuck your shit up because you did something to me or you cheated or whatever. But that doesn't really matter. It matters internally, because you can feel this internally. You're alarmed. It's triggers going off inside of you when you're not doing something right. You don't need the devil and God on your shoulder saying, "Hey, don't do that," or "Yeah, go ahead and do it." You are that energy of both of those. That's that energy of the divine masculine and the divine feminine within you. And that's why you see that positive and negative, and you think, oh, no, it's like the battery on your car. If one of them don't work, it don't matter how the hell you feel about it.
Right.
You need both of them.
I'm gonna check in with the people in the chat just to keep the people involved. And really, if y'all have something that y'all would like to share, or that y'all would like for the way I look at it right now, you can hear her talking. And first off, Sharaka, you have so much love busting off in the chat. I don't know if you can or can't see it, but so much love. Some people were just like, "Preach, girl, spread that light." They just got your back. So again, and I told you this on different levels, you ain't never alone. Understand that family as well is no longer, and hasn't been pretty much almost ever, maybe not, a blood thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a soul thing. And the soul does not differentiate between the colors of our skin. It does not differentiate between the type of blood that we carry. Okay. It doesn't even differentiate between the cultures that is in existence. The soul recognizes each and every one of us as the same thing, as one. Point blank, period. Like, when we look at all the shifts and the things happening in the world, there's some basic principle that if we could adopt, then essentially we all find a way to relieve the suffering that is happening in the world. And that is the simplicity of, I am you, you are me. I'm no different from the tree or the plant than I am from the bug. Okay. It wasn't at times until I stopped killing mosquitoes. Sometimes be getting it. I'm not gonna lie. Some of these countries I be in, sometimes they still get it, but I've at least reduced it by like 80%. Okay. But almost everything outside of mosquitoes, I have not killed a bug or anything like that. Understanding this principle behind, I am as much that bug and that fucking annoying mosquito as everything else. And so when we start treating, the tree with the same respect that we treat if I'm gonna say this with intention, me treating the actual racist cop. Let's just say that there is a racist cop, but be me still treating him the same as I would treat myself, regardless of what he feels his motive needs to be. Or if I'm in Asia and you got the darker skinned Asians down in Southeast Asia, and they meet now a China man from Beijing, the motherfuckers don't like each other. I mean, in reality, it is more of that Beijing man believing that they're above that darker skinned Southeast Asian man. And it's as well when that darker skinned Southeast Asian man still treats that oppressor who has made the conditions poor in the southern hemisphere of Asia, beings, let's say some of these Beijing political parties, when that person still treats that man or woman with the same respect as if it was themselves. And you see this when I travel. I can promise you this, at least 14 to 15 countries deep so far, all of these narratives are the same. Some way, shape, or form. And the solution that I've witnessed is the same.
Love.
Golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. Point blank, period. But it's the extension of not just other humans, okay? But understanding it's the extension of all living organisms. All living organisms, which is gonna be this citronella plant. And for me to go ahead and take the time to actually spray it and gives it what is needed, and the time it takes for me to nurture this plant so that it doesn't look sad, what does it do in return? It now sprouts up. It now actually gives me a sense of joy. It now actually plays back and helps me, citronella plant, as I touch it and I'm, spraying the water and I'm watering. Guess what happens? I now have citronella on my body. What does that mean? The mosquito is no longer fucking biting me. You feel me? So by me giving the love as simple to something like this, something I may overlook because I'm a fucking human and I'm on the top of the food chain. That's a fucking lie, but whatever.
Listen to the elephant if you want to.
You know what I'm saying? But it really is as simple as it goes that deep, that like when we give this time and this energy to each and every living thing, we stop seeing so much divide between political parties, between abundance and a lack of, okay, between your race and the next one, who your family for generations have been battling. All that shit is done. We have to literally transcend the fact that there's so much separation. We have to understand that the number one disease in the world is separation. And it's not just separation, but the illusion of it. Because not at any point have you actually been separate from anything, anyone, any substance, in any timeline. That entire concept is an illusion. I imagine that by the time Pluto goes into Pisces, shit gonna get real ugly. But understand that Jupiter going conjunct with Neptune has now removed a lot of this brain fog. Okay, it's removed a lot of this brain fog, and it's allowed our spiritual consciousness to expand. Jupiter to expand. We have 4 planets currently there. Like I said, Venus, we're now valuing all forms of spirituality, which means that if I sat there and looked at the church as the fucking culprit of all evil, it's also me expanding and respecting the different elements of the church that plays into the elements of astrology. Because if you look at the Bible, astrology is dead ass in the Bible. The Kabbalah is all a part of it as well. Okay. And that's even looking at it from that standpoint. And there's not a single area of life where if you look hard enough, you pull those Virgo facts like Sharaka is doing now, that you won't see the consistency of how each and everything is actually somehow, some way, the Holy Trinity all go back to the same. All back to one.
I've been battling with that so hard because my daughter is so serious about the whole church thing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? Because I grew up in the church. And I mean, of course, when I was young, I had no clue what was going on. But when I came online, I'm like, man, I'm about to go hell. I'm like, hold up. I'm gonna need my daddy money back. I'm gonna need my grandma money back because we didn't put so much money into these churches. Where's our banks? Where's our businesses? Where's our schools? We shouldn't even be dealing with having to need a letter to go to school or a letter to go to work to say that our religious exemption and all this old shit. And we've given all this money, billions of dollars to these churches. Where is the substance? Where's the banks? Where's the businesses? Where's the schools for us to be going to so that we don't have to deal with what this government is doing? But no, they're in cahoots with the government. They've got a 501c3 status that allows them to be tax exempt. So all the money they're collecting from us, they don't have to pay taxes on it. They're not regulated by anything. So when they go buy their $500 Gucci shirt or $700 Gucci belt or whatever, it's a write-off.
Talk about you had this conversation with me the other day. And as I get ready to give this mic to her to speak on this part, I'm gonna tell her up front, I'm gonna give her a break to make sure she get those thoughts collected together. Talk about the $36,000 that each of us are awarded at birth, but we don't know and understand it. And how it actually can be awarded to us. And because we don't know about it, how it's used for others. So I'm gonna give that note so you can collect a thought, bring yourself together. I'm gonna take a soft inhale with you because this one's deep. As our belly moves and our chest stays still. And when you start to notice that the mind is calming and organizing the chaos, so that we can take one moment as we release all the tension in our jaw to bring ourselves back to center. Because this is a part of the illusion that we have to be hyped as we deliver our message. And then those emotions hijack us. And we speak from a place of personal truth, which is imperative. But we have to also get back to remembering that we're doing this for the people. So it has to be above ourselves. And in this moment, as we took that second to just really bring ourselves back to center, if you're new on here, go ahead, definitely like and thumbs up on this video. I would really appreciate, just go ahead and smash that, smash that, smash that. And with that said, Shireen, I see you in here in the chat. Thank you. Kaisha, thank you. Elijah, Virgo, thank you. Moon Vibes, thank you. Thank y'all all for just actually taking the moment to just really communicate, share your thoughts, share your opinions. And Sharaka, I'll bring it back to you as they hit that thumbs up button. What is this about the 36K you were telling me about one of these days, and how we're basically forfeiting our right leading into the United States of America and United States Corporation and the different divisions of how money is able to be allocated and stripped from us to then be again in reverse allocated. Go ahead and share and spill it out. Go ahead, hit me with the Virgo fast. What's up, Tiffany, by the way? Nice to see you as well, girl.
Okay. At birth, everyone that has a birth certificate and a social security number, a certain amount of money, $36,000 is what my records, my investigation has shown, was put into an account and allowed to grow interest until you turn 18, which is the age of majority. Now, based on the age of majority itself, 18 is not just this magical number. The age of majority is when you actually come into awareness, full awareness of who you are, and are able to operate from a place of self-governance. Because once society, once the world can see that you can be self-disciplined enough to carry out your own dealings or issues with other people, then you can access the money. But the thing is, it takes knowing these facts and these details and this data to a point of specificity, because when you go into these courts against these judges, they're well trained. These lawyers are well trained. Lawyers, trust me, they are well trained.
Libras.
But when you understand this this concept overall, you can see exactly what it means to be sovereign, or for what it means for sovereignty to be in the people or being a part of the people. Because this is where I was talking about earlier, public and private. We've got to notice the difference between public and private and how we're operating in those two spaces. Because once we come out of our private person, our private self individually, and communicate with another person, a persona is formed. That's when your person is formed. Because I've noticed that even in this space that I operate within, within this whole deal that I'm talking about, these people, they have this thing with individual and person, and that's a persona. That means it's fake. And like when we get the facts, we really start to see we still start to see the details come alive. Because internally, that's where your individualization lies. Because the divine masculine and divine feminine are individuals within you. And when they come together, a persona is formed. And that's the persona that you project out into the world. So once you project that out to another person, there's a persona. It's a private persona, depending on who you're dealing with. So when you're dealing with your family members and your mom and your children, this is a private persona, a private person. Now you take your private person and you go out into the public, say to the grocery store or say to court or whatever. Now you're taking your private person to operate in a public arena. And you need to know the difference between those two spaces and how to operate there. Because these people can tell when you come into court if you know something or not. And if you don't know what you're talking about, they're going to play the dozen right along with you. And then they're going to railroad you and you're going to go to jail anyway. And we got a lot of people who've accessed these accounts and purchased outstanding amounts of bullshit that they didn't really need. But based on my research, the government has obligations to the people based on the 1933 Gold Repeal Act. When they took all of our family's gold, well, actually, our family turned our gold in because people were hoarding gold. So it was kind of just in a sense, because in order for a society to operate, the money has to be exchanged. It needs to move. It doesn't need to be sitting in your bank account, stored up, saved up, or whatever.
Right.
Purchase assets that are valuable, so that in times of need, you can exchange them for their weight in value. Right. And that's what happened with the greenbacks when the money had on it that this note is worth its weight in gold and silver. Now it says these bills are for all debts, public and private. And you think about it, so you have a debt in your pocket. That's literally what you have. Every time you spend $1, you create a debt, and this is our national deficit. When you look at these numbers of the national deficit, it's $30 trillion. That's That's a lot of money when you think about it. But when you look at how much they're playing with in the government, like sometimes it baffles me. Do people consider where this money comes from? Because I've heard this reparations thing being thrown around, but when it comes to reparations, oh, we need to study, we need HR 40, we need to go down into detail. And there's so many damn records and documents of this so-called slavery or this so-called whatever detriment to the Black people in America. That I don't see why you need to do a study. You just need to compile this information together and cut their goddamn check. But no, they won't do that because now we've got another thing. We've got a pandemic, and now we need to send all this money here to other countries. Why is America sending money to other countries? Thank you. Why are we sending money to other countries when we create any type of stimulus or any type of package that's supposed to a CARE Act? Right. I'm going to give you this, and then your children are going to pay for it years down the line. That's this whole back. Yeah, I mean, throw your hand and hide, throw the rock and hide your hand. And it's so crazy because a lot of the people are even when it comes to income tax, we're thinking, oh, I'm getting 5,000 back, I'm getting 7,000 back, 10,000 back. Ooh, these fuckers are writing off millions of dollars. So it doesn't even compare in terms.
It's almost so if I for the people listening who may not, because you speaking it so accurate, right? You hitting it with so much power, so much truth. Are you basically saying this is like third graders on the playground, right? And you got one kid come up to the next kid and he goes, hey, I got 10 $1 bills. Oh shit, really? I only got 100. You know what? I tell you what, how about I give you these 10 ones and you give me that 100? So now you're gonna have more. Is that essentially in the most layman simple terms, that what you're saying?
Yeah, once we go down to it, it gets that serious, that deep like that, because when you know the facts, you can manipulate them like that, and it's so crazy. You do that with kids all the time because they see more, so they think, oh, this is more than that one value, that one bill. And then what's even crazier on that note, when you just say that, this money only has the value that we apply to it.
Absolutely.
So if we didn't apply value to that money, if we didn't see it as such valuable instruments, it would be worthless. Because in the Cold War, the people in Germany, they were burning money just to stay warm. So you think about it, you see people with stacks and stacks of money, and these the rich people, they throwing it in the fire so they can stay warm. Because it's cold over there and on that little shelf, and people don't understand the value of the concept of the currency is within you.
This is what I was just talking about, and I'm gonna address Virgo vibes in here because she's saying something that you're talking about that I want to give you. But right prior, I just was talking about this a couple of days ago, and I when I was living in Asia, I dated a girl, and she was trying to figure out, like, with almost all her might, like, how do you survive? Like, I haven't worked for somebody in I don't know how many years. She's like, how do you survive? How do you do it? And when she asked the question, I didn't know the answer. If I'm being real, I didn't know the answer, because the real answer was, I'm just following my heart. That was the real answer. But she needed like practical, like, yeah, but like, how are you paying your rent? Right? Like, how are you paying? And I swear to God, I didn't know. And it made me start to kind of ask questions, and I had to really start from there. I really wanted to start, and I wanted to start like getting that answer for myself in my own ways, because the real answer was I didn't have an answer. But what I didn't know then, that applies to what you said now, as an entrepreneur in those younger stages, it was the simplicity of I was following my passions. Like, I'm a fifth house stellium, right? This is the heart space. I was following Aries fifth house. So just fucking naively, young baby, infant, following my heart, following my passion. And what I didn't recognize then that I can see now in a very different way, that makes my 11th house Libra, right? And so this is like socially just mediating for people. What am I doing right now in a sense? I'm mediating your message. That's it. Socially, like using the masculine energy within me, Libra, masculine energy, to just clearly allow my network connections, 11th house, to hear your message. And because of that, and leading from that heart space, okay, somehow, some way, somebody might just decide to throw a donation in a link below. And it happens. Like, I get random donations at times. Like, I'm like, well, where the fuck did this come from? And they just happen to be getting larger and larger as time go on. But all the reality is happening is like, I'm just sharing the platform and my heart.
But you just showed me something like, but visually, like in the second house, people think of the second house as the money house. Yeah, that's where the money is generated. But as you go around, you don't collect that bag till you get to the 11th house. That's when you get that bag.
You don't collect that 11th house, because the second house, this is just you understanding what do you value. And what you value is what you spend your money on. What you value is how you make your money, right? But like you said, the 11th house is where you get the bag. And it doesn't come to what? After the 10th house, which is where you know the people with the status to go ahead and invest into you, into passion, into your create, whatever, which is like the 5th house. So it's like, you're right. It's we have to understand the value. That's the second house. Like, the second house is not money. To me, when I look at money, it's not money. It's what we value using our resources for. Understanding that one resource is money. One. But in reality, I look at less as money rather than currency. Yeah, one resource is
within us.
Exactly. Because back in those times and those ages, like I really was just walking the earth for like 2 years and I didn't make a dollar. I made $15 to train a German woman once in the park. And I made another $15 I always make a joke about this, but to translate for a China woman in this sketchy ass hotel room for 30 minutes. She's like, read these words off the screen, because people started asking these questions to me about like, well, how do you make money? I was like, I don't even fucking know. And I started thinking about money. Okay. And so then from there, now I'm doing this weird thing. I'm in this hotel room to read these words for her to then go around and change my voice around to use my voice to speak like an American, which I didn't really know into the middle. And I was like, oh, fuck, Pernell, like you just did some stupid shit. But when I was like, oh shit, you about to go home and they about to arrest your ass with your voice. It's gonna be my voice and they're gonna arrest me. So, but the funny thing about it all was, it's the currency. It wasn't about the money. It was the energetic currency. It was the social currency. Me just meeting and talking to people and just following my heart. That was the value. And that value, me valuing that. Okay, me valuing because my second house is Sagittarius, right? So me valuing philosophy, me valuing teaching, me valuing being optimistic about the ugliest fucking situations in the world as a Scorpio rising, just ugly, fucking death, murder, all types of wild sexual. Listen, so it's me just valuing the optimistic viewpoint and the true perspective, Sagittarius, that value system is what allowed later that currency, that energetic currency, that optimistic currency, that social currency, that collective currency to then have that 11th house Libra within me to then pay its dividends later when it was necessary, to the point where whenever it was required, money would just land. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay rent. I don't know. I don't worry about paying rent. It's just going to get paid. That's all I know. It's going to get paid. Right. Like at the end of the day, it's just going to get paid. And it does.
Like I was thinking about that with gas. Like I never, my whole life, I've had different cars or whatever, but I never like, especially when it comes to premium gas, y'all. Like I never thought about how much gas it was. I just know, okay, I need to gas my car. I mean, not even considering how much money I got or filling it up or any of that. Just I never thought about the prices. But people are like, oh, the gas prices are so high, and I'm just like, how much is gas? Like I still don't know to this day how much gas is, but like now that I put premium gas in my car, I'm like, oh shit, I told my friend the other day, I said, girl, now I see about this gas thing. I was like, y'all be tripping. I was like, golly, is it really that serious?
Tripping. Yo, when I tell you I pulled up on my one-on-one and I had a one-on-one client that's still out in San Diego, and I went out there, I rented a car, right? And when I tell you I'm like $5 for gas. I don't even know what that meant because I haven't lived in the US in the last 4 years. I'm like, what is that? It just felt like it was high. I was like, I don't remember gas being $5. I was like, last time I remember, I used to pump my little Tudor Honda with $23. It was a full tank. And so, now I'm looking at it like, what the hell is it? So get your ass a bike. Okay. Whoever's listening. I got a bike. My bike is right over there. Get your ass a bike, get your ass on your feet.
Yeah.
And realize that you can't meet people inside of a car.
Right. That's for sure. Like, it makes you think about something too. Like, even with the birth chart and just life in general, this whole currency is flowing like the waters along the banks, like the rivers. This whole plane of existence, everything is water, and it's flowing. It's the currency, and the currency exists within us. We are the currency. That's why the money here in the United States is backed by the full faith and value of the people. And so we don't consider that. So when it comes down to it, we're not thinking about the fact of, if it wasn't for us, none of this would even be possible. It wouldn't exist.
You just said something that gets me back to Virgo vibes, and I want to tell you this. She said, no one is supposed to be in debt right now, per word and agreement from the government.
That's right. Government obligations. That's right.
Now can you give us again? No, can you elaborate on that? Can you give us the Virgo facts and elaborate why that might be true? No one is supposed to be in debt right now, per word and agreement from the government. And before you do, when you answer this question, you have a podcast. You speak this talk all the time. I want you to send that to my Facebook Messenger you have. Send that link to your podcast directly to me right after you either now, so that I can put it in the chat so people can find. Matter of fact, bust it now. We're going to go ahead and get that social currency rolling now. If you can just send that link of your podcast, because everybody in the chat is very, very interested in the things that you have to say. And I think it's important to give them a chance to really hear you and what you're doing on the reg and these messages you're pushing. And what I like about her podcast at the moment now is some of these episodes are 12 to 20 minutes. I think 25 minutes might have been the highest. I don't even know. So she's giving you constant golden gems, okay, nuggets, and these pocket-sized informations about everything she's talking now. So if you like and you're interested in podcasts, I'm gonna go ahead and drop in the chat right now. As I ask you to go ahead and obviously like this video. And while I do that, I'm gonna then listen to Sharaka right afterwards on what she has to say about none of us should be in debt per word and agreement by law. That's the wild thing, by law. The same laws you follow and you conform to so blindly, by law. Bang, is that you? Nope, that's not you. And then in the meanwhile, let me check in with somebody said the real internet is sharing true knowledge. Networking with others is the true internet. Bang. Naturally manifesting. What's up, Shireen? How you doing? Tiffany. Okay. While she's also grabbing that link, because I see her doing her due, reparations isn't just money. Okay, hit me, let us know. If so, they would have paid us. Reparations is land. Woo! She just mentioned one of the main assets, okay, land, okay, Airbnb.
There was no money back then. See, when it comes down to what people are talking about reparations, and people are saying in terms of
wait, before you go off, send me that link, because I know you. Send me that link. Don't get off track too much. This is my Libra focus. I'm like, send me that link, and then I'm gonna let you go ham. Go ham after that, so that people can make sure they.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I think I have. It should already be.
I just sent one now.
Okay, thank you.
One I did the other day.
All right, bang! I got you. I'm gonna drop. Okay, and I'm gonna drop this straight in the chat. Astronomical. Okay, bang. I'm gonna go.
Astronomical.
And
I moonlight as a comedian.
Yeah. All right. So I see you got this on Anchor, and we're gonna say just to give people boom boom boom. Okay, here we go. Sharaka Miller podcast, which is actually called the Divine Rights. It's already name. You already hear what's happening. What I know for writing, I know you're a writer. That's what is that, like a double entendre or something like that? I know there's a term for meaning two things, right? I'm almost positive you meant your rights, like your legal rights, being able to speak about it, but also that you're a writer. What is that called?
Oh, you're talking double entendre? Yeah.
Is that what it is?
The whole, and see how I spelled divine? Because see, what we're doing with these words, this whole play on words is where all of this stuff gets mixed up at. Because like she was just saying, the reason we should have no debt right now is because, for one, money didn't exist back then. This whole creation of money came about in the 20th century, really. But this whole concept of money itself and the value it holds, everything was exchanged in gold and silver back then. When the people that we're being oppressed by, so to speak, the colonizers, when these people came here, these lands were already operated and owned by people that were here. And these people that were here were considered in a certain way based on how they appeared to the people that saw them when they first came here. So that's why when they say, "Oh, the black people were here," and when they talk about the Indians and all this whole thing, see, it's a big mix up with the words, because from black to Negro to African American to colored to Indian to American Indian, Native Indian, all these different names, what they're doing is having this play on words be the way that they get us to walk out of our own personal sovereignty as the people. Because if we were to operate together in unison, they wouldn't have any room for anything, because all of us together collectively spending money with each other, operating with each other, we wouldn't need to do anything with the government. We wouldn't need any of their resources or anything. But because we've been left to fend for ourselves in a sense, then the women with children feel like the last resort would be Section 8, because far better than being out on the street when your family members. I've seen girls get put out of the house at 16 with babies, and the boys are still in the house till they 40. And it's like, what the hell is going on in the world? But when we consider this whole mind fuckery that's going on, the debt that we are incurring should not exist, because the government has obligations to the people based on, like I said before, the 1933 Gold Repeal Act. When they took the gold from the people, we went off the gold standard. So that means that we have no way to pay anything. Mm-hmm. So with us having no means of payment, because we can't operate in gold and silver, which is the only real currency, the only real way to pay is gold and silver. If we can't operate like that, then that means that we have to operate another way. The government has obligations. So what we should be doing is filing our style money orders and creating our own greenback or our own promissory note, so to speak. And that's what offsets the debt. And see, if we were all doing the right thing, so to speak, we wouldn't have a national deficit, because everything would be taken care of. When the debt is created, we would send that money order, our style money order, and it would offset that debt, because they're doing a double booking interest system. I don't know if you are really in depth into accounting, but in accounting, once you make one entry in accounts payable and accounts receivable, you make these double booking entries to balance your books. And see, the books have to be balanced at all times. That's what's going on right now in Russia and Ukraine. That's what's going on with Taiwan and China. All of these things are all about balancing the books. Because once one person gets to operating outside of their outside of protocol, things get thrown off. And until we balance them back, we will have war. You damn right we're gonna have war, because when the Queen of England is here in her in her self, her little personal self, whatever she got going on, they're trying to balance out the money that's spread across the world. Because like we all know with the birth certificate thing, these birth certificates are all in the Vatican, in the basement of the Vatican, all of our real certificates of live birth. So they know everybody who exists, and they know everybody's birthday and birth time, and they know astrology, they know astronomy. They've got people just like we do on our side here with this whole astrological analysis. You can believe they perceive things on a different perspective. Like they have foreknowledge that goes forward 2,000 years. And that's why we're in the position we're in now. And we're totally unaware of what's going on, because this shit was set up 2,000 years ago. They've been planning this for a long time. We just following suit. We doing exactly what they want us to do, because they want us to be talking about all the crazy madness with Will Smith and Homeboy. They slapping each other and all these people and their kids chopping off their whackers or whatever. I don't get all this crazy shit. I'm like, whatever. But you hear all of this madness because they're wanting us to be this. Yeah. They're wanting us to keep looking at this while we get this money out of these accounts. These decaquintillion. The last time I checked, these accounts had over $6 decaquintillion in them. I don't know if people know how money goes, and this was in 2000.
Off, how many of y'all listening can even measure decatillions, dog? Like what? Nobody even heard about a number above a trillion. Nobody's even thought about above a trillion.
Wow.
And you talk about a deca who? A deca what? We ain't talking tarot no more, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, hey, let me check. First off, Virgo Vibes. She keeps talking about the Black Law Dictionary.
Yes.
Okay, so I want you, Virgo Vibes, to shoot me. I dropped my email. Shoot me the Black Law Dictionary in the email. And here's what I'm going to do. Anybody that has a link where you feel like you have some information that we the people need to know, this is the type of video that those type of people will seek and find. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to put every link, including the podcast that Sharaka just put up, that I recommend y'all check it out. Please do support her if you're rocking with the vibes. My boy Elijah on here, he put the snake venom in the water. He added a link that I don't know, maybe you heard about that as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. My. The snake venom being in the water and what effects that might have on you, that being the link. So I'm going to drop that in the description by the time this video is done as well. The Black Laws in that dictionary, the Black Law Dictionary, and how that may play out. So what I want to say is, any of y'all have something that y'all want to be advertised on here, I'm just going to go ahead and pay it forward and with trust and just say, okay, boom, I'll drop that in the description and continue to use the platform to get the messages out, because here's the simple reality. Sharaka is an expert at what she's an expert at, right? I'm an expert at what I'm an expert at. Tiffany in here is an expert at what she's an expert. Moon Vibes is an expert at what, and that's all different expertise. And this is why we have to see and remember that we're all one, and stop thinking that there's any division at all, because it's foolish. So if you have something, you have my email, I dropped it in there. I want you to go ahead and send it to me while I'm on this live so I can drop it in the chat and follow up and drop it in the description. And in the meanwhile, somebody has said something I wanted to finish Tiffany's thought about reparations is not just money. If so, they would have paid us. Reparation is land, rights, opportunities of all kinds, and etc. that will put us on equal playing grounds. They will never, and I quote, in exclamation points, as well as all caps, they will never do that. They will never put us on an equal playing ground. Boom, that's one. And then Virgo Vibes, I said, I traveled the country sometimes not knowing anyone, but just staying positive and keeping true to myself. I somehow never really was hurting. I somehow never really was hurting for anything or found myself without. Boom. And somebody is thanking you, Kaisha, in the chat for breaking down the whole second house and the 11th house. You say you helped her so much, and you're absolutely fucking dope. Yep. I believe that's pawns on the chessboard. Yep. The divine feminine number, also 13. What about 13? Is there anything when I say 13? Because everybody in the chat talking 13. My birthday number is 13. My grandma died on 13/3/13. And I see you had that little smile. I see somebody got a tattooed on them. So I saw your smile. What's the smile about? What's the 13 about?
Because 13 has been always touted as a bad number and no 13th floor and all this. 13 is the magic. 13 is what completes our cycle, our circle of astrology. 13 is you in the middle. See, when this circle is formed, it's formed from a perception. That's the initial thought forms the circle and it starts going around. That's what I was telling you about the whole concept of our creation, because it was here. It was just a space and it was holding space. And once that first initial thought happened, and the feeling came together. It started this wheel, and that's the council of 13. Like if you have 12 people, that one in the middle that binds everything together, that council of 13 is so powerful. That's what a lot of these nations are formed from. So once you have that council of 13, you have 500 people that agree with you. It's a common rule within your governance, within your community. So when it comes to 13, there's so much power in 13. Like I can go on for days with like this whole show in and of itself, the number 13. But it's so much power there because when we see this 12 come to completion, it comes to completion as that one whole. And see, because the space is held in the zero, it's the space itself. So when you're starting at zero and you're counting, you have to count that in too. And once we see this completion and culmination of the whole circle of 12 come together, that's that Jesus Christ in the middle. That's that Christ energy, that Christ consciousness that we get once we are fully aware. The veil is removed and the Christ consciousness is awakened. So I mean, this is like, this is so powerful. This whole energy here today of seeing these things and being able to communicate back and forth with people, because like she said about Black Laws Dictionary, and it's crazy because now they start to kind of whitewash Black Laws Dictionary because they notice that a lot of the gurus in the community, they make sure they reference Black Laws Dictionary because they have like the base foundation of etymology and the language that we're using in terms of how it's used as a verb or adjective, or because when we're referencing case law, when it comes to actually getting any type of reparations or them doing that probably wouldn't happen, but we have to do that ourselves. We have to take dominion over our person, over our own rights, and know that our rights are divine. Nobody can give us rights. The Constitution didn't give anybody rights. The Constitution protects rights. And when you are actually operating in proper persona, when you go into the courts, they will protect your rights. They will shut down the whole damn courthouse and you have a personal trial all to yourself, because they know that you now have come into the age of majority. And see, once you come to the age of majority, for one, they don't want everybody else to see it, because then everybody else will start catching on and growing up. And we can't have everybody growing up around here, because then we'll balance the book and then we'll really get to see that playing field even out. Because the playing field gets evened out once everybody reaches the age of majority. But because we keep having children, of course, no, everybody will never be at the age of majority. Because as long as we keep having children, especially if we keep sending them to be indoctrinated, we're never going to get an even playing field, because nobody will ever have the ability to reach the age of majority. When you reach the age of majority, you really come online and you really go and you do your due diligence. I've seen people talk about this shit, but when it comes down to it, you got to put that work in, and that means burning that midnight oil, getting them facts for real, because you got to know your shit when you step to these people, because they ain't playing, and they're gonna do everything they can to discredit you. They're gonna do everything they can to make it look like you're lying, because they don't want this to come out. They don't want you to operate from these accounts, because they're operating from them. Right. They spending trillions of dollars, and the budget itself is into the trillions of dollars for one state.
I got the Wild Wild West in my head, and it's like
the bailiff.
There's not enough room for the both of us in this town.
Those are the outlaws, and then it's crazy because that's what they bring for the outlaws. Because if you're not in law, you're outlaw. And back in the day, that's exactly what they did. If y'all want to play games like this, we'll come in here and we'll bust this motherfucker open, and we're gonna take y'all shit. That's why they was robbing banks, because they knew it was some bullshit. Because then they were strong arming people, basically saying, "We're the government. We're operating like this. So what if you don't know how the rules go? This is what it is." But now you're taking all these people and you remove them from their lands. You've taken their ability to operate with each other, because in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street was booming like a motherfucker. They was jealous as hell. They came and burned it. They
burned the whole thing.
Aligned a whole city, 60 square blocks or something of people, banks, businesses, schools, libraries, hospitals, bookstores, everything flatlined it in one damn day. The military dropping bombs on the city. Like, some of the stuff that has gone on in this country just behooves me that people are still under this guise of this government operating it properly. Like, I can't really believe that people think this is a real government. These people are fictitious. They're de facto. They should the insurrection that happened on January the 6th. We didn't really see a lot of, i.e., Black people in that group. But if I tell you, they have said that a Black person was the person who injured the police officer at the door, some old crazy shit. But even like they're saying now, Black people are attacking Asian people. There's this whole thing about Black people or these swarthy people that has these fuckers scared up, because why are y'all steady fucking with us? Like, really? Like, I've never really seen Black people just attack Asian people. I've seen bullies in school. I've seen them pick on nerds. I've seen them pick on a bunch of people, but never just this whole instance of people doing this to Asian people. And see, when it comes down to it, even with this whole Jewish thing, and they're saying, oh, you can't say this, and they had the whole Nick Cannon thing going on. When you consider Semitic, we were the Semitic people. We've always been the Semitic people. When you when you go back into the records of the past, not his story, because his story is always going to be how he wants you to see it. But when you go into the records of the past, you start to see what's going on. But you got to dig in and you got to do your due diligence so that you know. So when you stand in court or you stand anywhere, you can stand on your square and you can know that you bringing facts and you dropping your shit, and they can stand with it or against it, but you're not gonna play their game. And see, that's what's going on. We're playing their game, so they're gonna play right along.
The rules are rigged. The rules are rigged, and we know this. You know, you was talking right now. I think it was like 5 years ago or 4 years ago. I remember I had left the country and I came back, and I left like 2 weeks again later. And I remember talking to my friend, and I felt like I had to like talk under the guise of a subway train where it was loud and, you know, there's no service and shit underneath. And I remember like whispering to him, and I was like, yo, my man, I'm like, what's up? I was like, I gotta go. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I gotta leave. I was like, the things that I saw, I feel this urge. I have to speak. I gotta talk about it, but I can't talk about it yet, because I felt like if I spoke too soon, I would have just got too early. And it was like my spirit really leading it. It was just like, P, you not protected enough to speak about what needs to be spoken about. You have to go meet the people. And for me, that was in the world. That was literally for the last, like I said, 4 years, living outside of my own homeland and diving into the more indigenous cultures and just getting the info from so many people who don't even speak the same language. They don't even speak English. They just nod and smile at me on some of these cultures, because like we don't understand each other from a language, verbal or oratory. But the point of it is, I don't feel like I'm in that position anymore. And I honestly do feel like the connections and the people were built. And in this moment, somebody said, you're a bolt of knowledge. You're one of these people in this moment where it's like, exactly back to what you said. And I didn't know all that back then 4 or 5 years ago, but it was that we have to know what the fuck is up. Like we can't just keep blindly going. I see 13 in the chat. What's up, gang? 13 gang. We can't just keep blindly thinking that, hey, just because I know and I feel this is wrong, that I'm going to be able to go ahead and bang with the beast.
Okay, because you got to be talking to get to court.
It's not enough. You got to come. You got, like she said, you got to come correct. You know, it's the same time where, like, even in my more juvenile stages, when I was in the court system a couple times, it's like you can't come in there without coming correct.
And because that's another thing too. If you don't have to physically appear, if you're not in their jail, don't go to court. You send a motion in. Like that's something else too. On my podcast, I'm getting to a point like I have to bring it in bits and pieces because it's too much to bring all at once. But stop taking your babies to these courts. Stop going in here taking yourself. Like what the heck? These people are not. They have no jurisdiction. First of all, always challenge jurisdiction. When the police pull you over, first thing, what's his name? What's your jurisdiction? What's
badge too?
Yeah, badge number. Always have a recording device. We need to start getting our own records compiled.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying about astronomy, we need to start recording our own skies and start knowing where things are because our energy shouldn't be this off where we can't hit back in a line with our whole essence that's connected to the universe.
You had said something that I remember talking when I was overseas. I talked to my friend about this, and they almost couldn't understand. And I was telling them about a time that I had got pulled over by the cops. And this is the thing about it. You know, we have to also be wise. We can't be arrogant and stupid about what we do and how we do it, right? Don't be in the fucking cop's face like, you on fucking camera. Do what you gonna do. No, fuck all that. Like, before they got to my car, my camera was just set up on a little side. It's on record. But I don't need to be ignorant and arrogant about like, hey, by the way, you want to do something? Go ahead, do it. But understand.
There's some rules though, but Pernell, let me tell you something that people really need to know. First and foremost, whenever they hit the lights, you are under custodial arrest. Know that. Please know that. You are under arrest as soon as they hit those lights. Second of all, lock all your doors, roll up all your windows, one window only, come down an inch to a half inch. You don't need to let these people have access to your person because they will snatch your ass out that car. And then we see what happened with Sandra Bland. We see what happened with Fernando Castillo. We're looking at these situations happen right before our face. These people have no jurisdiction. They're a gang. The police are operating as a gang. They're going around and they're terrorizing. If we start to police our own communities, we don't need them to come in and tell us shit because we on watch. There's some guys here in Arkansas, Little Rock where I stay. They used to be Crips. And these guys, of course, they do what they do, but they going around and they policing the community. They saying, hey, we see when shit popping off, we walking through the hood, and some shit popping off, we're gonna diffuse that so that we're not having to pick up this phone and call the police every time. When you need somebody to police you, hell yeah, they're gonna come in and do what they want to. But when those lights go on, you under custodial arrest. So when you know that, automatically do certain things. When you get I smell alcohol, yeah, you give it a draft.
What is custodial arrest? What is custodial arrest?
Custodial arrest is basically arrest without handcuffs. You know what I'm saying? Because once they put the handcuffs on you, then they've got your physical body in constraints. But before then, they've got you mentally constrained. Because you're already scared while you're driving. Driving while black is a real fucking thing. People act like but because we know there's no black people, then now we all confused. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing is whoever you are, it doesn't matter what color you are. When they hit those lights, know that they intend to escalate this to you going to jail. That's their purpose because all of it is a money game. When you go to court, they're filing a lien against your account. See, all this is about money. It doesn't matter. Like even when it comes to your houses and your mortgages and all this, mortgage is a death pledge.
Right.
That's what it is. You just think about it. All the amount of time it takes to pay off the loans for some of the houses, and then you look at these people building.
Yeah.
All right, and then you see
average age like what 77 years old, right, or something like the average living age. So by the time you finally finish it off, you got 7 years to live with zero, to realize for the last 7 that fuck it, I might as well off myself now. I done fucked up.
And then you done work your whole life, your body broke down, you really can't enjoy life anymore. You haven't got to explore your kids, the relationship with your family or anything because you're working 40, 60 hours a damn week. It's just like, really the whole concept of this whole working thing, if you think about it in terms of time and energy, man, all of our time goes to working to pay bills. When you get through working, all your money going to pay bills and shit, you ain't got enough to even enjoy yourself. Then you tired. I mean, like, that's no life. We didn't come here for that. We came here to experience life and enjoy. We didn't come here, and it's so much abundance. Look how large this place is. And they're talking about everybody on the planet can fit in Texas and have 2 acres of land apiece and not be in each other's way. Everybody on the whole damn planet in Texas. So why the hell are they tripping about all this land? And we ain't even explored the ocean's depth. So
I love the ocean talk as well. Sharaka, I feel like we're gonna have to get you on another one for sure and clarify what that's gonna be like. So you have my contact. We're gonna discover what that is as I see 66 on screen. My question is now, if you were to, I think my baby getting too much sunlight. One second, got to tend to the plant. Yeah, she's telling me too much sun.
Get some 3% hydrogen peroxide to spray on it, and put a capful in, and maybe 8 to 12 ounces of water, and spray it with it to keep the fungus down and to keep it healthy and have the ability to absorb the light that comes in.
Okay, look at, like somebody said in the chat that you're a vote of knowledge. I want y'all to just take a moment to say hi to Group. This is Group. This is Citri. I got another one back there that I don't know the name of. We never got to that part yet. There's a couple more in my bedroom. But that said, Sharaka, really one. About to drop my damn plant out the window by accident. Sharaka, one, we definitely got to get you back on another live. And what I want to say for now, one, obviously everybody hit that like, hit that thumbs up button. That's a green light. Go ahead. And then follow up to, I have her link in the bio, and I want y'all to follow up with her and check out her podcast and follow it. I mean, if you resonate with it, you resonate with it. Go ahead and follow it. Let me make sure I drop it in the chat one more time. But I'm also going to, if you're watching this on replay, I'm also going to drop this in the description of the YouTube video all together. And Sharaka, here's my last question for you. As we lead people into the truth being revealed, into the power moves of, let's just say the world right now, whoever is in charge of these power moves. And what I want to say is, if you had to wrap up, how do you believe Pluto in Capricorn, when it hits its 29th degree and finally finishing off right before Pluto in Aquarius, what do you think the implosion, and I say implode, going inward first and then coming back out, not explosion, not outward, the implosion, like somebody getting pissed the fuck off and keeping that anger in for 10 years and then wanting to go ahead and spray everybody. What does the implosion of Pluto and Capricorn and your personal prediction with the facts that you have been able to gather together, what should we almost be prepared for? Even though we know it's going to still be something that's still overly dramatic when it happens, what do you feel that outcome looks like? Pluto and Capricorn finally hitting its 29th aneretic degree and eventually coming to a full implosion before Pluto in Aquarius.
Prepared to be amazed. I swear. Well, for one, prepare yourself to come back, because right now we're so out of sync. We probably will be reincarnating. Hopefully we can learn before we leave here how to incarnate so that we don't have to come back and face this again. But because we are, of course, gonna live again, so to speak, because we will leave this body, this physical vessel. But this world is going so awkward, guys. We've got to really step our game up with getting this knowledge and awareness of what's going on within ourselves and outside of us, and all around us. Our environment is really important, because Mother Earth, or Daughter Earth, is really suffering right now. And we've got to heal Daughter Earth. We've got to heal ourselves, and we've got to heal the planet, because there's so much stuff. We've been sucking her blood out with removing the oil. We've been cutting her hair with removing all the trees. these are the things that are vital to the essence and energy of Earth, because this energy is stability. It is what the ground that we can stand on. Because if it wasn't for this terra firma, all of these different plants coming together, tightly woven and knitted, we would not have any ground to stand on. So it's really important that we do learn to protect the earth, protect our inner nature. Don't let people move you. Prepare to be moved though, because it's gonna be some things that's going to jar our whole perception, especially seeing death like we're going to see, because these people are gonna start dropping like wildfires. I mean, it's amazing that people can't see this, but when you're in the midst of it, it's hard to see because you're washed under the current.
No, it's the truth. Yesterday,
once it settles, it'll be there.
Yo, when I tell you yesterday, for like, I'm not kidding, for about 180 seconds yesterday, I was washing dishes, and out of nowhere, I couldn't breathe. I mean, for about 180 seconds, where I was trying to breathe. I'm like, what the like? It felt like I was going to croak over at a point, and I was even just trying to burp or cough because it was something stuck, like in this whole esophagus, canal, gut, and it was just stuck, and I couldn't get it out. So I was trying to force myself to burp. I was like pushing my stomach. I couldn't breathe, and you know, this is actually right after the Libra full moon message, the workshop that we had yesterday, which y'all should definitely check out. The workshop is on my YouTube. We ran it live yesterday. But my point behind it was Eileen was here, the one who was singing at the workshop, and she was like, what's going on? I couldn't even talk to her to tell her what's going on. I was like, I don't fucking know. And then like 3-4 seconds later, after I could breathe, I recognized very clearly a mass amount of people died. I mean, an astronomical amount of people just died all at the same moment. And all of that just came out of me, where when I finally could breathe, I was just, and for whatever reason, these things come out as burps for me. I don't fully understand why, but it's like me almost for some reason, my spirit or my soul, it does its best to try to digest the deaths of people that in other ways can't be. And I don't fully honestly understand that, if I'm being real. But I did know very clearly, I was like, oh shit, either somebody really important just died or a whole bunch of motherfuckers just died. And you just spoke about it. And I'm telling you, and I think this has something to do with my whole, I got like a stellium in Cancer 8th house, and it happens in my gut, it happens in my belly, like the death. And somehow, some way it gets transformed and transmuted. Whether it's people passing over to the other side. I don't
trust me, I feel it because I live across the street from the hospital, and my address is literally 999, that collective energy. And with this Pisces moon, they leave me messages through my 3rd house stellium, 5 planets. They leave me messages to give to their loved ones and to the world. And not that I have to verbally speak it, but just the thought of me being aware of something coming into my plane of existence or my plane of awareness and going out, I can feel the death. Like I can feel it. And my heart has been so heavy for the last 6 months, like literally just weighing down. I can feel it all. It's like a compounding of messages to get out to the world, to let people know, to, protect the babies, because that's our tomorrow. The babies are our future. That's what we're going to leave behind as our legacy or our lifeline. And man, please, y'all, protect these babies. The school district has been designed to dumb us down. We don't need them to teach our children. Your children need to learn what you want them to learn, the things that you feel is important. If we start to value things more that are really important to overall existence, we'll stop thinking that ABC 1, 2, 3 and breaking it down also. Like it just boggles my mind, the school system and how crazy it was, because they literally did it on purpose.
Is there any last minute message that you feel like you have to give out? Like, and I say this in a sense, if you were to literally ascend today and you couldn't say anything else, you couldn't use that 3rd house stellium, what would be that final message for people as you part and they check out your podcast?
Create your own courts, create your own school systems, create your own government, start your own constitutions, come together, operate as your own units. don't let these people determine your tomorrow.
Mm. Mm. That's the power. You know, you talking real life sovereignty. I met a British man once in when I was living in Indonesia, and he wasn't British. What the fuck was that? British Columbia. He was Canadian. It was British Columbia, and he was a professor at a university. I believe he was an economics, something like geopolitical economics professor. I don't really know. And he was retired at this point. And he gave me game. I remember taking the notes about sovereignty and how, like, it's somewhere written where you can legally send in documents and be a sovereign person to the point where, let's say something like, if an officer pulled you over,
they do not contain lists. They got a list of people that when they pull you over, they see your name, they not fucking with you because they know this. Hey, if this person come to court, they bringing that smoke, and we don't even want it because they gonna get hit in their pockets real hard. Like I'm getting ready to go into the court system here soon, which I won't be going into court more than likely, but for a $5 million lawsuit, and I'm not fucking around. I'm coming with the fact and see my shit all documented on paper. I'm not playing. I'm not gonna be like very much in Little Rock, so I don't really care though.
And so really, like, I say that to just to back her message about don't ever believe that you don't have a choice. That's my point. You know, for the simple fact that it has been done, for the simple fact that we do rewrite the laws and we are able to, for the simple fact that sovereignty is not some foreign, distant reality that's absolutely impossible. It's just not true. So I just want to start there as we finish the message and help you understand, for starters, that if you do not know the way, that's okay. But that does not mean that it's just not possible. Okay. And understand that the information is out there. I just got your email, Virgo Vibes. Thank you for this doc. I'm going to put this. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to turn this PDF into a link. And then when I turn it into a link, I got the Black Law Dictionary. So for 2,000 pages. Holy shit.
That if you can, guys, try and get in that first to fourth edition and try and see the difference between that and the newer editions up to maybe the 8th, back to the 8th from the present one back to maybe the 8th or the 7th, because there's a difference in how they're creating these dictionaries now. So the 4th edition is around where you get that most solid set of information. It's not so far back that people can't really understand the language, because they created this language. We didn't speak this language before. That's why we needed this dictionary, because they're playing magic tricks with the words, so that what we're saying, we're casting spells on each other.
Talk. Hey, listen, elaborate on that spell real quick, because we got a bunch of magicians on the channel, and that'll give me the opportunity to turn this into a link so that I can drop it right in the chat. Talk about that magic spell. Talk about that spell. I love that magic. Go ahead, girl.
One thing about the spell thing that I thought was really significant, because like I had this whole thing about feeling, and see, feeling is not just feel itself, because this is not necessarily a play on the spelling of it, but when we think about it, you can feel something so many different ways. You can feel it internally, you can feel it physically, externally. I mean, but it's all misperceived, because everything that we perceive, our whole concept of awareness in terms of hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, all of that is coming from our brain. It's not coming from the actual place. If you think you're smelling with your nose, no, you're not. You think you're seeing with your eyes, no, you're not. You're not hearing with your ears. All these perceptions have been misperceived, but it's because of this whole spelling. Like if you take one word and you see it spelled different ways, which means different things, the whole perception that's applied to it has so much weight. Like especially I heard something the other day, and this is not necessarily about the spelling of it, but bitch. Like we have homegirls and we be like, bitch, you crazy. Or if you get ready to fight, I'm gonna be like, bitch, I'll kick your ass. And you like, it's a whole nother weight and depth to those words. And when you think about that, you see how these people play these words in these courts. The may and shall stuff like that implies something. And if you read it in context, you'll see what it's implying. But you've got to actually go to the literal source so you can see what their implications are. And that comes down to case law and case text. So when you go into these cases that the Supreme Court has ruled on, the Supreme Court is supposedly the highest court in the land, and what they say sticks throughout the whole collective. So we're going to review these case texts. You start to see how they're playing the tricks with the words. So they say the reason they came up with this whole concept of the United States versus the United States of America is so that they could do this. Because now, when they came to the United States, they codified everything. Once you codify things, then you need somebody to break it down for you. You need somebody to actually go through and tell you what this means and what that means. But when it comes to common law is something that's known naturally by all people. It didn't have to be written down. It didn't have to be codified. But common law is similar to divine law and similar to natural law. But of course, they're not the same, because your rights that are divine to you are divine by the God in you. That's why we have to be self-disciplined. We have to be self-governing so that we don't need anybody to determine what this means based on the codification of it. Because a lot of the stuff that we're operating under is statutes and codes. They're not even laws. And law doesn't exist like that. That's why I said the whole Constitution. When you read it, you see this word play. You see it. These words are spells. That's why they taught us spelling in school. Because now that we have these mixed up, confused understandings of the words, we just casting spells on each other all the time. Every time we're talking to each other, we're saying, and then some of the stuff we say to each other is so powerful and so painful that we have no idea how we impact other people by the words that we say. It's really important that we start to hone in on what we really intend to deliver when we're saying something, because people very rarely remember what you say, and sometimes very rarely remember what you do, but they always remember how you made them feel.
Right. The true story. I just dropped in the chat the Black Law Dictionary. I'm updating it right now in the description as well. So if ever any time you talking about it and you can't remember what a link is, like, hey, look, I remember it's in this video. Just go to this video, tell somebody to go check out the link. It's in the description, as well as Sharaka Miller and her podcast. Okay, that's dropped in the description and the chat as well. So this is a PDF. It's a 2,000 page PDF. Fucking bananas. Whoever took their time to write that definitely had a purpose.
The first edition costs almost $5,000, and in some places $12,000 for that one dictionary.
Wow. Wow. And it's out there. So y'all have that. Oh, look at that. Mac gonna sleep soon. So yeah, in the meanwhile, what I want to say is check the description. You have her link. Check her podcast, and understand that as a Pisces moon, Sharaka, when we got on our call today, she had all the vibes where she really needed to get this shit out. So also want to, just on the behalf of you, the audience, the people listening, watching, and just throwing hella respect in the chat, I want to just give you a personal thank you, because you helped me help her, and she was able to help us all. And that's the power of humanity. All right. That's the power of recognizing that there's no division. You were able to help both of us today. And again, we were able to give to you in a way that is lasting. Okay. Where this inspiration can and should be acted on. If you feel inspired in the moment right now to go do something, whatever the fuck that is, I want you to go do it and understand that you have that sovereign right to do exactly what it is. Okay. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for throwing that last thumbs up. If you're brand new in this, thank you for showing Sharaka Miller love. And she came on here as an extension of me. So I thank y'all for giving her that same respect and more. And I just want to say, this definitely seems like we're going to have another chat where you come on here live. Cause like you said, and like the people in the comments said, you are a vault of knowledge. This is the real life expression of Virgo having to speak that talk and drop those receipts. Okay. There are more receipts than you can wrap your mind around. So you definitely should be looking forward to seeing her again soon. Sharaka, thank you tremendously for just blessing the channel with such potent information and an expression that is just absolutely incomparable.
You're welcome. I love you guys.
I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for checking in, and